Well, since we're all here and everyone's kind of curious to know what the deal is with Snow White now that it's finally come, I feel like we've been waiting for this movie for like 2 years. It's been a long time coming, but here we are. Some of you fine people, have seen it already. But yeah, I'd be curious to know your thoughts. I know Lady Gravemaster and Verbal Riot, you've both seen it. So whichever one of you would care to go first, feel free and just let us know your thoughts. What's the movie like?
After you, Lady Gravemaster.
Oh, all right. I would say ladies first, but I think I'm the only lady on this panel, so that wouldn't work.
You're here for representation purposes, okay?
Oh, that's right. That's right. As was the Snow White film was all about representation. There is a very diverse casting. However, one little white girl in the very beginning, she's a little peasant. She snuck through the DEI wire. She got in there somehow, and she can sing really well. So it was a little bit weird because she was around all of these other kids, and it looked more like a casting for a modern Oliver Twist than Snow White set back in a kingdom of really just a German fairy tale. Yeah. Like, it's just wild. But the story overall was horrific. The plot was inconsistent. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It's almost like after she made the comments about how he doesn't have that many scenes and he could just get cut out because this is Hollywood, it's like they went and reshot parts and put more of him in the movie because they don't actually make sense with the first 45 minutes of the film, where she's just pushing for fairness and equity for all, literally through apple pies.
What?
That's how they're going to save the kingdom, with apple pies.
Yeah. This is a plot point, by the way.
I'm not kidding.
So, yeah, like, okay. I mean, if we take like the original animated movie and compare this to it, like, how closely does it follow it?
Not
both in theme
not
and
at all.
in events. Right. Okay.
Not at all.
Right.
Also, if I don't know, I guess this is a spoiler. I know this is like really early, and maybe Verbal Riot may disagree with me, but the way the queen dies at the end, spoilers if you haven't seen.
Oh no, you ruined the movie.
Ruined it.
I was so excited to watch it.
It's very reminiscent. If you guys ever watched Snow White and the Huntsman,
Yeah.
it's almost
Which by the way, was a much better movie.
It was, and that movie still sucked. Mirror is by far the best live action adaptation of Snow White that I've ever seen. But the ending of this film, because Disney loves its sequels, it is unclear whether or not the evil queen is actually dead.
Oh my God.
Are they actually trying to set up a sequel?
It is entirely possible.
I thought it was very clear. Are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, go for it.
It's Snow White.
No one
Yeah,
gives
why
a
not?
fuck about this.
I mean, this movie does live up to expectations. I'll just say that.
Oh, sorry.
So
I didn't realize you'd seen it as well. Apologies.
That's all right.
How are you so lucky?
I know, yeah.
Movies release on a Wednesday, new movies where I live. It's a bit weird, but that's just the way it is. I don't know why it releases on a Wednesday, because no one goes to see them. I was half the audience in my theater. Anyway,
the opening weekend is gradually expanding to like the opening week. Like, it just gets bigger and bigger as time passes. But yeah, anyway, sorry. What did you think?
It fully lived up to expectations. It's one of the worst movies of the decade. So if anyone does want to go out and see it out of sheer morbid curiosity, I thought maybe I'd see it, not do spoilers for that. But at the same time, don't be under any delusions. It's one of the most astoundingly boring pieces of shite I've ever seen. But at the end, and as soon as this happened, I thought, for fuck's sake, fucking Disney. Because in the original, the queen dies when the dwarves basically kill her. They chase her to a cliff top, and some of them are armed with sticks, and it looks like they're going to beat her to death when they find her. And then she basically falls off a cliff trying to defend herself from the dwarves, right? So that's what happens. The dwarves basically kill her.
Well, she gets struck by lightning, doesn't she?
The lightning hits the cliff, and then the cliff breaks, and she falls off.
Yeah, you can say it's an act of God.
You could call it an act of God. It's a combination of the dwarves and nature herself finishes her off. But in this one, basically, the problem is in Disney movies, men aren't allowed to kill women under any circumstances, even if the woman is a villain. So Disney had to change it. What happens now is that Gal Gadot, she basically attacks the mirror. The mirror says something she doesn't like at the end, and then she smashes it, and because of this, she dies. She blows up, and that's
She gets sucked into the mirror, basically.
Yeah, she gets.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she got sucked into the mirror.
So the shards of glass are her magic scepter that she's been hauling around that you would think would have more to do with stuff that's going on, but it tends to just not be anything throughout the film. But she picks it up, she smashes the mirror with it, and then drops the scepter. It shatters on the ground. As all of the glass shards are flying around her, Snow White witnesses the evil queen turn to ash and then get pulled into the mirror, and then the mirror repairs itself. So now the queen is in the mirror. Yes. See,
I assumed because she turned to ash, I thought she just sort of was burned to death by magic or something.
Well, so what that is supposed to be, if you remember at the very beginning of the film, her power is in the mirror, and that's why she was protective of the mirror and nobody else knew about it. And so when she smashed it and her scepter broke, that was like all of her power, because her beauty is where her power came from in this hodgepodge of stuff. If you can pull these things out, my notes are like 6 pages long, but it essentially is. She was very protective of the mirror because it reinforced that she was the most beautiful, which is where her power came from. And when it shattered, all of her power basically got pulled back into the mirror, and so did she. So technically speaking, because it is a magic mirror, she could still be alive on the other side of the mirror.
So, all right, well, there you go. We're I'm sure we're all.
Let's just be clear. Let's be clear here. There's not going to be a sequel.
No,
I don't think so. No.
There is not.
So yeah, like Verbal Riot. What was your impression of the film? Like, what was your experience watching this?
Well, here's what's funny about this, man. So right before the movie, me, Gore, and Alan Ing from Film Thread, we went to the Yard House for a couple of pints before we went to go watch the movie.
And you shoot before this.
Well, we had to, right? For me though, the beers weren't enough, so I popped a few gummies before the movie started, and
nice.
I got to tell you, man, it didn't help. It didn't help at all. You know, there were times where Gore kept looking over at me, and I know when he looks at me like that, it's like, hey, let's get out of here. And I'm like, no, dude, we got to ride this out, man. Like we just got to ride it out, dude. It's like I kind of equated to like bull riding. You know how you have like 8 seconds to stay on the bull, and that's how this movie was. I was just trying to stay on the bull the whole time. Nothing in this movie looked real. First of all, nothing looked real. Like I don't know if they used one real set in this whole movie. It looks really weird. It's very uncanny. Especially those damn dwarves, which you can make a whole video just on those dwarves, man. Those dwarves took me completely out of an already bad movie. The dwarves were bad. The plot made zero sense, man. And the thing that really kind of got to me was the queen asking the mirror that question at least 20 times within the film. It's like every time the queen had a scene, she was asking that mirror that damn question every single time. And I'm like, dude, this is some terrible writing. But here's the thing. We expected that, right? I expected it to be bad writing. The only thing that was kind of a surprise to me was Rachel Zegler didn't do that bad as Snow White. I mean, as far as just being Snow White, I mean, she has a decent voice. I thought she'd be the worst part of this, and she wasn't, which says a lot because it was still bad.
Question: how was the new singing parts?
That's what I'm saying. The music was fine. It was fine. I mean, for the most part. I mean, like, look, I'm sorry. There's no way you can like make hi ho sound any better than what it is. It is what it is.
That's not what I'm talking about. You thought Princess Problems was good?
No. But what I'm saying is at least she has a decent voice. No, that's the only thing I'm saying. I mean, the songs were whatever, but it's a musical, right? I mean, it's a Disney musical. It is what it is. So if you're not into it, doesn't matter how good the singing is.
What was Gal Gadot like as in terms of her actual performance? Because
Completely over the top. She was completely over the top. Like she was chewing up every scene.
I enjoyed Gal Gadot for that reason, because that was the only part of the movie I enjoyed. Like, Verbal Rights, right? This movie, and I was racking my fucking brain trying to think of a single redeeming aspect. There are none. There are no redeeming aspects to this movie.
Right.
But you can enjoy Gal Gadot ironically. You can sort of, first of all, she's hot, right? And it's not intended. She kind of looks like a dominatrix, also with her behavior.
Yeah, she does.
She's angry.
You're saying all the right things to me, Despo.
I know, it's great. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I was just thinking, I wouldn't mind spending an evening with Gal Gadot looking like that, you know?
Yeah.
She's 90% covered for the
but
film.
That's the thing.
And
That's why she looks. It's leathery, and she's got this ridiculous crown that goes way up.
She's
just
still
weird.
so much prettier. She's still so much prettier than Zegler. Like, I don't understand. It's baffling because the queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's youthful beauty. And like, it's not even a competition, even with Gal Gadot covered up.
And it's not like they made Zegler look good. Zegler looks kind of shit in her little Snow White dress, which is ugly as hell. Lady Gravemaster, what did you think of the Snow White dress design? Because I was comparing it to the original, and they've got the colors wrong. In the original, the dress is like this cream yellow. It's kind of nice, and this new one, it's like a mustard yellow. It's just awful, and it doesn't look good on Zegler. She looks awful in it. It looks cheap as fuck. She looks like she bought it on Amazon and it arrived 2 days after Halloween, and she's wearing it just out of sheer frustration that it arrived late. It's just awful.
So, yes, all of those things are yes. And the worst part about the dress for me is that's Snow White's iconic dress. That's what little girls dress up as when they dress up as Snow White. They don't dress up as Snow White in her peasant garb when she's scrubbing the stairs. They dress up in her princess gown. And the thing that's really mind-blowing to me is I don't know if it's the way that Zegler walks or if it's the way that if the dress was not properly like tailored to her and it's not fitted correctly. But did you notice that instead of it being like a swooshing skirt, it was like very rigid, and so when she would like hop or move, instead of like a billowy effect, it was almost super starched, and it sort of like it just sort of like went up and down with her. It didn't actually flow around her, which was really off-putting because that
might have been it, because there was something else about it that was really off-putting. I was like, I don't know what it's like, uncanny, but that must have been it. You know, my subconscious.
The dress was probably CGI.
Yeah, I will say I did laugh. I did laugh once when those fucking dwarves came on screen. I laughed out loud in my seat. It was one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in a cinema. It's just the ads don't do it justice. It's the worst Uncanny Valley CGI I have ever seen. It is,
and somehow it does look worse. It looks worse on the big screen.
Yes,
Jesus Christ, that's
it looks 1,000 times worse on the big screen.
Yeah. When you're looking at it on your phone, it's bad, but you're like, oh, it's just kind of weird. But on the big screen, it's just the stuff of Dante's nightmares. It's horrifying.
Well, and
it just sucks that they couldn't hire real people.
That's the thing. The bandits who are with Jonathan, who by the way is not a prince because we don't want to steal any agency from Snow White. They have an actual dwarf as part of the bandits.
Yeah, he was part of the DEI bandits, basically. And no, it really was. I mean, these bandits, it was like, you know, 2 black people, 2 white people, like a Latino, and then they had a midget. So I mean, it was like it's like they checked every like box. And I think they had one.
Why is nobody in a wheelchair? Like they didn't get everything. Just wheeling along.
But that's the irony, though, man. They had a little person in their group of bandits, but they didn't bother to cast any as the dwarves.
It's Peter Dinklage's fault, man. He kicked that little tiny ladder down when he got to the top.
Yeah, you think he would have been the bigger man and just allow people.
But he has a really short temper.
He does, yeah.
And also here is the thing. So of the bandit crew, the only one who has more than a single line that you kind of remember is the little person of the bandits. Like, he shouts his name all the time. He talks about how his crossbow got stolen. Then he gets a crossbow back, and should we ruin this, Verbal Riot Despot? Should we say how the
I'm
queen
pretty
does
sure
stab?
Disney ruined
Ruin
Snow
it.
White,
Yeah,
not you,
definitely
go
ahead and
Weird
ruin it.
Master.
Get this. So the evil queen is about to stab Snow White with a glass dagger that she has materialized after she withered a rose away. She is literally about to stab Snow White while all of these guards, whom no longer want to kill her because Snow White remembered their names. I'm not kidding. They were like, if you want to do it, do it yourself. So all these men are just going to sit there and watch as Snow White gets stabbed to death by the evil queen. But it won't happen because the I don't even remember his name, even though he shouts it all the time. The little person who is part of the bandits shoots the evil queen's hand from the crossbow that he got off the wall of the castle, and the glass dagger falls and shatters. That's why Snow White doesn't get stabbed to death. I'm not even kidding.
I feel bad for Mark Webb, the director of this. He did the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and that other movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it. I forgot what it was called. Something of Summer, 500 Days of Summer, something like that.
Can't catch
Yeah,
a
500
break.
Days of Summer.
Yeah, he did those two. Like, this guy's he just seems to have bad luck. Like, every movie he makes just gets like studio interference, like Super Saiyan levels of it, man. I can't imagine how it was to make this movie.
You know
Well, when
what's
you're
funny is,
dealing
like,
with Disney, I mean, Disney, they don't really hire directors anymore. You know, they just hire, people who will basically do what they tell them to do.
yeah.
So
It's so funny when you guys talk about the bandits as well, because like they were, in a way, they were the thing that precipitated all of the backlash to this fucking movie. Like just the behind the scenes shots of them walking down a hill. Everyone thought they were the dwarves. Everyone lost their minds. And so everyone started to look into this movie a little bit more deeply. And that's when all the Rachel Zegler interviews that she'd done previous to that suddenly came to light. And that is what began this tidal wave of negativity around this movie. It's all because of those fucking bandits. And it wasn't even, they weren't even dwarves. They weren't even meant to be.
The crazy thing is, if this was just a straight to streaming movie and it only cost like $50 million to make, I would say, it was fine. It wasn't really meant to be a big screen movie, blah, 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 blah. But, the fact that this movie cost about $300 million to make, this is
before marketing.
This is some sad shit.
It's astounding given how bad it looks. The cinematography is awful. The whole movie is soaked in this really cheesy, kind of sunny yellow filter. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Especially the scenes inside the cottage. They wanted it to look sunny, so they apply this horrible yellow filter, and it just looks awful. And it clashes with a lot of the colors in the set. You get a lot of yellow on yellow on yellow on tan on brown. It's just these disgusting color clashes. The outside, like Verbal said, looks fake. The entire thing looks like a CGI set. The forest set looks abysmal. I don't know. It looked like they filmed the forest inside in the studio and then added a green screen in the background. It looks terrible. It's one of the worst looking movies. It's one of the worst things Disney have ever done.
I maintain that it looks like a high school musical theater production on stage. That is what it looks like.
And I haven't seen a single positive review for it. The Guardian gave it 1 star.
Oh, I've seen a lot of shill reviews.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean,
well,
are you talking about the paid reviews that Disney did for their preview?
Yeah, well, we had the influencer reviews, right? There was this initial batch of like positivity that lasted about 2 or 3 hours on social media, where it's like, this is like a surprisingly amazing movie. It's the best live action adaptation in years.
And then the actual.
Yeah, and then the actual reviews came out, and it's fucking dog shit, and it's currently sitting at 46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I've already started to see the cope. When that didn't work, there was a new update patch released for NPCs, and what they're going to say now, and I've already seen this starting to circulate on social media, is, bro, are you literally talking about a movie for children? It's a children's movie,
God,
bro. Who cares if it's not that good?
Tried that with Star Wars.
Bro, it's literally for children. What's wrong with you?
Okay, and you know what though? To be fair, it is for kids. If you have a child between 3 to 8. They might enjoy it, but it's going to be a nightmare for the parents who have to sit through it.
I have to say, Verbal, I disagree with that. I think this thing is so boring, and the way it's been shot, the fact that the scenes are so long and so static, and there's next to no action. Like even the finale, Snow White defeats the Queen by literally walking into the kingdom, And then everyone walks behind her and she sings a song and the queen comes out. And then Snow White reminds the guards around the queen of what their names are and their professions and who their wives are. So they all like Snow White. And they turn to the queen and say, "It's over, queen." And the queen goes, "No!" And she tries to stop Snow White. And that. There's no action that I
have a question.
Down with the monarchy.
No
and
action.
up with
You
equity.
guys brought up apple pies. What did that have to do?
Oh,
What happened with that?
So
you just kinda glossed
basically,
over that.
there's this weird, like almost socialist message in this
Oh, yeah.
movie, right? And the whole message is, people who have the most share with everybody who has the least, right? And so the king, he has these feasts, I guess, every week or whatever, where they bring pies to the people, and they kind of ended the movie on that note as well. So.
But I don't think kids will enjoy this. When kids went to see The Little Mermaid, like they were bored out of their minds. I had a niece went to see it with her friends, and they were all so bored.
Well, I mean, should we just tap the sign? Like, kids deserve good content too.
They
Yes.
should. Kids deserve good movies. Like, if I had seen this when I was a kid, I would have been bored out of my mind. I saw the original Snow White when I was a kid. And I loved it. It's a great movie. But the kids aren't going to like this. No one's going to like this. It's dreadful.
There's a wider kind of cultural issue as well when it comes to these remakes, right? Where this, in a alternate timeline, right? This is going to become the default Snow White, right? Imagine this was a smash hit, and like this is, this movie makes $2 billion or something ridiculous. The original with its fairly timeless themes and like the gorgeous animation, all that stuff, will be forgotten, and this would be the replacement. The kind of quasi-socialist messaging, the girl boss protagonist who saves herself, which has fucking been done a million times before at this point. But that then becomes the real Snow White in people's eyes, and that solidifies into our cultural legacy as the new way that things are done. And then everyone gradually forgets the old one, and that's how cultures shift into something different, right? This is what they're trying to do with stuff like this, and it's important with movies like this, which are dealing with timeless stories, timeless fairy tales, whatever it might be, right? It's important to call them out if they're absolute dog shit and they're ruining the legacy of the original, because little by little, all of this stuff will get taken away and altered and changed and turned into something completely unrecognizable.